my channel. My name is Teno Merkava, and in today's video, I'm talking about Venus in Gemini. Bitch! Before I begin, please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Once again, thank you so much to all my new subscribers. You guys fucking rock. Please make sure to check out my other YouTube channel, Avocado Man, where I do other things that are not astrology. If you would like a birth chart reading from me, hit me up on my Instagram and I will send you a menu to the different readings that I provide. What is the basic archetype of Gemini, right? So Gemini is ruled by the third house. The third house is the house of siblings, your friends from your neighborhood. It rules neighborhoods, you know, things that you're familiar with, like an area that you're familiar with, where you know your neighbors, you know where Spar is, or Walmart, or whatever, like grocery store, like just the different stores that are around you, that are near where you live, you know, we are near your home. Because obviously the sign after the third house is the fourth house, which is the home. So the third house is basically your surroundings, you know. It's the school you're at, because that's basically in your neighborhood or just around where you live, you know, generally. So like it's basically your school, because the opposite to your school is like culture, how you were raised. Like in South Africa, we have different cultures. We have like Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, shit like that, you know. Obviously, wherever you're at, you have different like spiritual or whatever upbringings you guys went through that taught you wisdom and shit about the world and life and existence, whatever. So the opposite to that is the third house, you know. It's like learning logically, going to a systematic program that taught you how to do things. And in that program, you had friends that you got to know, you know what I'm saying? And then you guys went out and you went partying in that neighborhood or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's like third house is like, it goes deep, guys. But basically, just know it's your familiarities, things that you're familiar with, people, faces that you're familiar with, you know, like just neighborhoods, words, talents, you know, stores that you're familiar with, you know. And that constellation birthed the Gemini zodiac sign, period. So other than the third house, we have Mercury. Also, Mercury is how you think and analyze, you know. It's how you just basically process thoughts. It's basically thoughts, and it's how you communicate generally. See, right now I'm communicating. My Mercury is in Libra, so how I communicate is Libra-like, you know what I'm saying? But the home of Mercury is Gemini and Virgo also. But the external representation, or the external energy, the daytime energy of Mercury is Gemini. You know what I'm saying? So we have third house, we have Mercury that we know is thinking, communicating, analyzing, just breaking down, processing, analyzing, shit like that, you know? And then we have air. Air is thinking and it's communicating. So this is like a double emphasis on the air energy. Period. And it's mutable, so it's able to adapt and it's able to adjust to other people's way of communicating. That's why Geminis can pick up on like slangs, you know, other people's slangs, and like they can kind of gel with other people just because they know, they may not necessarily know what somebody's saying, but just based on how they used it in a sentence, they can kind of formulate and they can kind of like pick up quickly, because Mercury is very quick. And air is also very quick. And mutable air is also like, it's kind of like, mutable meaning, like I said, they're able to adapt, you know what I'm saying? So this makes them a fluid air. So this is what makes Geminis be able to like kind of dive in and dive out in relationships, you know? This is what also makes them kind of two-sided, because the Gemini zodiac is like the twins, you know, Castor and Pollux. And apparently they were actually not twins, it was like two girls, and then I think there were two girls and then also two guys on one end, and then two girls and two guys also on another end. But that's a whole mythological thing. But generally, we all know that Gemini has to do with the duality, you know? And this is kind of something they share with Pisces, just like the duality of things. But they're also mutable. So they're able to kind of like know what someone is thinking just based on previous conversations, or based on, how do I say this? Just based on even like your facial expression, you know? And this is something that they share with the sextile sign Aries. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if we put mutable air, someone who's able to adapt and adjust to other people's way of thinking and communicating based on their own knowledge of other people that they know that think and communicate the same way, aka the third house, you know. If we put all of that in Venus, we get somebody who loves and appreciates, because Venus is love and appreciating, compromising, but we get somebody who loves and appreciates communicating, thinking, analyzing, having friends. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely somebody, and did I say siblings? Just like general family members, because I feel like with Gemini, like everybody is basically a friend, even their mothers, you know? Obviously, it will depend on other alignments, but for the most part, Venus and Gemini people, unless they're like Cancer, then that's going to be different, you know? But for the most part, like having a Venus and Gemini, like you love and appreciate communicating to everybody. Like the thing, and you love duality, just like your opposite sign, Sagittarius, right? But now the thing is like, because Sagittarius, your opposite sign, they love and appreciate different experiences and like experiencing everything. You like to communicate, and you like to communicate about anything and everything in the world that can possibly be communicated. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are low-key doing the same shit. Just Sag may just, you know, kind of be reckless in just diving in any situation just to see what's going to happen. Whereas a Gemini may like to communicate about the possibilities of what if we do this? You know what I'm saying? What would the outcome be? They just like to, they love and appreciate kind of like, and like just thinking about things. They just love and appreciate thinking about things. And this is what makes them creative, you know. It's just, like I said, what they share with Pisces. And I'm going to make a video like the similarities between signs, because I feel like Gemini and Pisces also have a lot of things in common. The same way Libra and Pisces have a lot of things in common. But Gemini and Pisces have this thing in common where, like, things that they experience internally, Gemini being their thoughts, Pisces being their imagination. These things aren't technically things that, like, sometimes these things aren't even things that can be brought down physically into, like, manifestation, you know. Just for the fact they may, like, a Gemini, Venus may just like the fact that they can think about something. Even though it may not actually come down and be real. But for the fact that they can think about it, like, they may just love leaving it there in the abstract. You know what I'm saying? Because air signs are the abstract. They're in the past, present, and the future. And they know how to put all of those things, like, they know how to, like, kind of gather those things together and be detached from them, but kind of have, like, an overall view of everything. And that's what kind of makes them, like, super abstract. Do you know what I'm saying? Those are vibes. But having it in your Venus, like, you love and appreciate communicating with kind of everybody. So this is something that you also will share with your trine sign Aquarius, where you love and appreciate, like, kind of networking. Because with Gemini, it's like, you know how to shapeshift, or you know how to camouflage yourself in a way where you can, like, be one with the crowd you're in. Whereas an Aquarius knows how to do that, but they know how to stick with their own individuality after. You as a Gemini, it's like, because you're so mutable and, like, kind of fluid in your air like energy, it can be difficult for you to differentiate whether the thoughts you're thinking are actually yours, or if you've just picked it up from somebody else's vibration. You know what I'm saying? Or like somebody else's, like, or conversation that you were in. Because you're so open to, like, everything in terms of analyzing everything. And you probably do have, like, a Mercury in Gemini and a sun sign in Gemini, and if this is it, then definitely somebody who likes to, like, just communicate so much, just because there's so much going in, like, everything that's coming in, you just like to let it out. You know what I'm saying? So for that, like, with that, it's like whenever you enter a conversation with anybody, because you're so open to kind of analyzing the possibilities of where the conversation can even go, because there's so many doors that can open just based on a word, a sentence. You know, somebody can say a word and that could open up a whole thought thing, you know, and then they can say another word and then it opens up a sub door to whatever conversation you are at, and then that just opens up a whole other different conversation. And you generally like compromising with these things. Like, you like compromising with, like, because you're, like, a very relatable person. And you like compromising with other people's ways of thinking generally. You know, you like to see where other people are coming from so that you can kind of analyze that conversation, you know. And I'm pretty sure you, like, for a while, you may not necessarily talk about things you care about. You know, you're not like an air sign, a water sign that likes to connect to things that they care about and things like that they love and appreciate. Or being like a fire sign, maybe. I mean, an earth sign that would kind of like to practicalize and practically show you things that they love and appreciate. As an air sign, you just like to communicate about really anything and everything, you know. So, but the thing is like, you may not like being caged in, you know, like, you won't like being caged in into like a single topic. Because if, for example, you look like a water sign that likes to talk about things that happened to them in the past, for a while, it's like, oh, okay, we can talk about this. But if you feel like that person is now going to expect you to always say those things or like always tap into that conversation, it's going to feel like a cage to you, because it's like, oh my god, there's no mental stimulation anymore. Like, I want to know, like, tell me something I don't fucking know, you know what I'm saying? Like, educate me. Gemini, Venus is just like Mercury in Gemini and Moon in Gemini and Sun in Gemini. And I'll say Mars in Gemini are like sapiosexuals, you know, where they just like, they love having information, new information, because they like to chew on things, you know. Because if they don't have that, then they're gonna do that thing where they just fucking overthink a situation. Because like, if they're in like, for example, obviously you get like those more like introverted Geminis that think a lot more than they communicate. And that's what they love and appreciate. Obviously, that I think that would depend on if they have like a Taurus sun sign, maybe. Yeah. Or, yeah, a Taurus sun sign, you know. But for the most part, like, just having your Gemini, your Venus in Gemini, you're gonna love thinking or communicating. You know, just the process of doing Mercury shit, which is thinking and analyzing. You're gonna either love to analyze like things that are like coming to you. So this can make you one of those really like reserved Geminis, but like the reserved Geminis are the ones that are kind of like absorbing everything and like analyzing different groups and why people do different things. Like, they may be at a party and they'll be the one that are like just watching everybody. Like, they'll analyze, okay, they're the people sitting down because they're probably tired or they don't want to be here. There's the people who are making so much noise because they're the ones that like attention. And then, you know, they just kind of like Aquarius and Scorpios, but for different reasons though. Because an Aquarius may just be there to, like, Aquarius will always kind of be separate from the group, but they'll be part of the group. Scorpio is kind of like, you know, secluded because of their own protection. But a Gemini is like just really watching people live life, just to absorb information, just to know like, oh, okay, these are these kinds of people, these are these kinds of people, which is what makes them super smart. But like, just having Gemini in your chart generally makes you a very, very smart person, you know, makes you very dual in the way that you think. But you love duality also. Like, you love and appreciate duality, and you love and appreciate when other people can see different perspectives, because you love and appreciate seeing different perspectives, which is what kind of makes you wishy-washy and unreliable in that sense. Because like, somebody may want a concrete, consistent opinion about something, and they come to you as a Venus in Gemini, or if you have like any kind of Gemini placements, and you would like sit there and kind of analyze, like, if your friend is telling you, or whoever's telling you that they have a problem or whatever kind of situation that they're going through, you're able to see the many different perspectives of how they should see something. And that person may not want to hear that, because obviously they're in their feelings, especially if they're like a water sign or a fire sign. They're in their, but a fire sign you can help a lot better, because, you know, they'll appreciate, like, maybe not an Aries, because they don't want you to control how they view something. You know, and they may be a bit annoyed that, like, what the fuck, why are you changing my mind about that? But if you are a Venus in Gemini and then you're Aries, then this helps you a lot better, because, like, you're kind of able, like, you're able to initiate and then create new ways of how to see many different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? So this is like the little sextile you'll share with the Gemini sun sign. But if you're not an Aries sun sign and you are, like, you know, whatever, like, you're a Cancer maybe, or I mean, you could be a Cancer with Venus and Gemini, and that also makes you somebody that likes, you like to communicate about how you feel, but also like communicate the different ways of how to like look at how you feel, you know. But I just say, like, hypothetically, let's say someone, like, you are a Cancer and you have like a Venus in Taurus or something, and you have a friend who's a Venus in Gemini, and you are coming to them with a problem, and you're just like, you know, openly telling them what you feel and whatever. And this is what this is what Libras do too. Maybe not an Aquarius, But Libras definitely do this thing where like you can tell them a problem or whatever thing that you're going through, expecting them to like kind of be on your side and validate whatever it is that you're feeling or going through. But instead they don't do that. They just kind of put themselves in the shoes of somebody else and be like, have you ever tried seeing it this way maybe? You know, because it's not emotional though. Air signs, like, they don't really connect to their emotions in the same way water signs or fire signs do, where it's like more so like a subjective point of view. You know, air signs are very objective and they want to look at it as like in a bird's eye view base, because I mean obviously birds are in the air, so they look at everything in a bird's eye view and kind of want to see why something is happening without really getting involved in the emotional sticky ickiness of it. You know, unless of course they like have a Cancer something. But I feel like the Gemini part of you does help a lot, you know. Not a lot, but it kind of helps, you know, somewhat. But for the most part, like, having your Venus in Gemini, like I said, you kind of like to, and this is what you love and appreciate, just kind of like seeing the different perspectives of everything, you know, and like seeing how other people view things differently, because it puts you in a situation where you're able to like kind of get out of who you are, but you don't really have a distinct self, especially if you have your Venus in Gemini conjuncting your moon in Gemini. There's no like distinct self, even Sun in Gemini, but like, or if you have like your moon in an air sign also, like you may not really have a distinct self or like a distinct stable sense of self. So like what makes you feel comfortable and what you love and appreciate generally is just kind of putting yourself in other people's minds and seeing how they like think about things, or like just feel how they think about things, you know. And then that's what you love and appreciate. And you love and appreciate when people kind of like, when they have something to teach, you know, because with the opposite polarity of Sagittarius is like they also love and appreciate people who have wisdom and can like teach them something. But in terms of like, you know, there's always going to be backed up with something spiritual, like a wise guru type of energy, you know. With Venus and Gemini, you may appreciate that too, even though you may not be so into like the, unless it's like you have your Venus and Gemini in the 9th house, then definitely yes. But it may not be super, like you may not really care about the religious or spiritual aspects of it. You may just like the information that you gain from it, you know. But for the most part, you're just going to love and appreciate having information and gaining information and giving information, you know. These are definitely the type of people that like to, I would see somebody being a writer with this, or a script writer, fucking rapper, like a, you know, rapper, you know, even a singer, an actor, just anything that like makes you talk a lot, you know. Like you could be a journalist also, a news reporter or whatever. Anything that makes you like, anything that allows you to talk and like just release all that mercury, you know. Because I mean, once on the one end, it can be really frustrating for the people around you to even keep up with you, because like your thoughts are going really, really fast, you know. And it can be frustrating for you to be around people that need you to repeat or to like remember what you said and say it exactly the same way you said it, because Geminis won't really, they always have like different, and that's the thing with Gemini energy, you know. They can ask you something and then they can ask you the same thing but in a different way, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I feel like that's the thing like all air signs can do, but specifically Gemini, where they can just always like ask you something differently or in like in a different way, that type of thing, you know. Also Gemini, I feel like Gemini Venuses, because you guys love, like, it may be really difficult for you to kind of like be in relationships, because once again, like you don't really look towards the emotional connection of something. Like for you to even maintain a long lasting relationship or a longer relationship that isn't like 2 weeks, you need to have like mental stimulation with somebody. So like definitely this is a placement that like, once there's nothing to talk about or once the fun is gone, then the Gemini is also out. Just like the Venus and Sagittarius, you know. If there's no, because the difference with Venus and Sagittarius is like, if they don't feel like there's a purpose to be in that relationship, then they're out. But with Venus and Gemini, it's like, if there's no mental stimulation, or if there's no like sense of like, oh, we can still kind of relate thoughts together and we can kind of like, you know, not let it be kind of sticky in terms of emotions, or like sharing our emotional vulnerabilities or shit like that. And if that whole situation is done where we have nothing to talk about anymore, or like the conversations are kind of dry or like they whack, then they're out. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Sagittarius, only they may not look for like the, oh, we're together because we have to learn how to, I don't know, learn communication together. Like the universe put us together to learn communication. Or the universe put us together so we can both, oh, you can teach me this. And no, it's not so much that, you know. Geminis, like I said, they're open to like, as long as there's information and there's like a mental stimulation, but there's fun. And it's fun. Oh my god, dude, that Gemini is there. Like if you can, that's why I feel like Gemini Venuses would go really well with like any other air Venuses, you know, because there's always going to be something to talk about, and there's always going to be like just like tons of mental stimulation, and like a lot of, especially like if you have like also fire signs, Venus in fire signs too, you know, it's going to work a lot better. I'd also say Venus in Virgo, because you guys share Mercury too, you know, but for the most part, like as long as there's mental stimulation and it's fun and it's lighthearted, you know, it's not super heavy. Obviously, if there's like a Scorpio moon, then it's going to be modified differently. If there's a Pisces moon, it's going to be modified differently. If there's a Cancer moon also, it's going to be modified differently. What else? If there's a Taurus moon, also, you know, obviously it's going to depend on your sun, moon, and rising. But for the most part, just having a Gemini moon, what you love and appreciate and what you're willing to compromise is just all forms of communication, you know. And in relationships particularly, I feel like you may have this thing where like you may not be so direct and like, how do I say this? You may not like, you see, for the most part, like, you know, relationships kind of obviously there's like different layers of relationships, you know. There's like the emotional part, then there's like the passionate part, there's a communication part, then there's like the financial stability part, right? And you may not like, because you also may view love in an unrealistic way, in like a childlike manner, you know. You may not, especially as you grow up, you may not really look towards caring so much about like financial stability, or even like having passion or shit like that, because you may be like the fire signs, they may teach you how to have passion, and that's like really cool because that's your sextile sign, so they may color your air, and like, you know, it's like a really dope give and take kind of situation with fire signs. But if it's like a water sign, you may not really like, it may be really scary for you to like think that you have to like constantly be emotionally connected to somebody, because being emotionally connected is somehow kind of condensing your airness, you know, because you have to like kind of attach emotionally. And air isn't heavy at all. It's just, you can feel the air, but you can't really hold it, you know. It's always going to escape. It's always going to find a way to escape. If it's in a jar, tire, balloon, it's always going to find a way to escape, you know. So having a Venus in Gemini is gonna, like, these Venus and air signs are a lot more prone to kind of dip and be out faster than any of the other signs, you know, because air signs, I mean, the water signs will still think, okay, well, we still have the emotional connection, so even if we break up, we're still going to be somehow connected in that way. And don't get me wrong, Venus and air signs are able to still be homies with their exes, if there's still like means of communication, if there's still something to talk about, or, you know, if, you know, you want to go to groove, away, dude, you know, we go to groove, we still party, but it's like lighthearted, and there's no like emotional obligation or predisposed obligation, because that's another thing with Geminis, that they don't want to feel obligated to do anything. And that's something that they share with Aquarius and with Sagittarius also, is that as soon as they feel obligated, or as soon as they feel like they're in this like limitation or this cage of, okay, I know I can't do this because this is going to make you feel some way, then they're going to do some sneaky shit to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Gemini energy needs to be free. They love being free. Like, they don't like being told what to do, because it could also be, because they're double-sided, they may be a conversation where it's like, okay, we're not going to do A, B, C, D, E, but then turn around and then kind of show you actions that like make you think like, oh, okay, I guess this Gemini person's going to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And that's exactly what the Gemini Venus is going to do, what the fuck they want to do. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it, because that's just that. You know what I'm saying? The Gemini energy is like, it's dual in nature. So they may say one thing and then do another thing that opposes that. And they may not really be conscious of it. And if they are, then obviously they know what they're doing. But they may not really be conscious of it, because it could also be a thing where they're in a relationship, but while they're in a relationship, they're like, fuck, I hate this fucking relationship. And then still turn around and like be in a relationship and like do cool shit. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, bruh. It's like this whole double thing. Oh, they may not be in a relationship, and then they have homies, and then they treat their homies like they're in a relationship. And that's another thing. Gemini Venuses are more prone to be to date their friends, and if it like they may be the type of people like to just have sex with like someone that they met at a party, you know, or they may like lose their virginity to someone that they grew up with from school or something like that. Whereas, yeah, I don't know how other people lose their virginity. Should make a video about that on my other channel. It's like, how did you lose your virginity? Was it from someone at school, or like someone not from school, or was it like a random stranger? Because I feel like that's also a thing. You could lose your virginity at some party because you don't really have like an emotional predisposition of what should happen, how it should happen. You know how to go with the flow and just go wherever the wind takes you, you know? So, you know, I feel like some Geminis may have just like lost, especially if you have this conjuncting your Mars or like your Jupiter. You may have just like lost your virginity and you didn't like think anything of it. It just happened and you knew how to move on. And that's one cool thing about the Gemini energy, is that you know how to just like let go of situations and like move on and treat it like you just washed your hands and now you're watching TV. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, you didn't make anything too, it wasn't too big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like Venus and Geminis, and just Gemini period, knows how to like let things just, they just know how to let it go and not make it a big deal. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be modified differently if you have like a Scorpio moon or any water moon or whatever shit like that, you know. Virgo moon maybe, Taurus moon, Capricorn moon. It's obviously going to be modified differently, but for the most part, like Gemini Venuses just know how to let things just slide. And that's kind of how, like, that could also be detrimental, especially in like romantic relationships, because it's like sometimes people need you to kind of be serious, you know, just like know how to have an adult conversation. And Gemini obviously is like the toddler. It's like not the toddler, it's the child. It's a fucking child. Children aren't serious about life because they're just trying to have fun and like get to know what everything is and get to like understand what the fuck, you know, why, I don't know, just analyze why shit is the way it is, you know what I'm saying? And there's no time to have like a serious conversation with them because they're either gonna shy away or like just kind of laugh it off and not take it seriously. Because I know Geminis are like that, where they just, in serious situations, they're just laughing. And now obviously maybe that could be a coping mechanism, you know? I mean, we all have coping mechanisms for different situations, you know? Some of us can't handle those heavy emotions, and I feel like Gemini placements sometimes cannot. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be different, it's going to be modified differently based on your sun, moon, and rising. But for the most part, like Gemini energy, like they just like to keep things lighthearted, you know? Just like Libra, I feel like they may not like to leave a situation like when things were a bit hectic, you know? They may not like, oh, if they do, if things kind of ended weirdly and they meet you again, they'll probably be the type to like act like, oh, nothing happened. Or if not, then they'll probably kind of like talk to you just the same way they talk to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll talk to you about anything and everything. And if you, as the person, you start like bringing up, oh, so are we going to talk about that? But if you do it like in a heavy way, like oh, so what the fuck? Are you just going to, then they may be like, ugh. But if you do it in like a playful, you know, this is really nothing, let's just talk about it, but like it's also laugh, that type of situation, then I feel like they'll be a lot more open to talking about the situation, especially if you guys broke up on bad terms, you know. That's why I say like Gemini and Sagittarius, they also share that, because Sagittarius don't like bad juju. They run away from that because they see that as a trap and they feel that like that's heavy. And both of these signs are very light, fluid energies, you know. So they don't like handling like those hectic situations. You know, they bounce. They go find the fun because that's what they like. They like having fun. You know, these are the type of people that also have mouth, like word vomit. They may just, especially if they have like their Venus conjuncting either Mars or Mercury or the Sun. You know, these are definitely people that just have like word vomit. They just say whatever and they can make the room awkward. But to them, they're just like talking. So they don't have like any emotional connection to what they're saying. It's just words. It's just information pouring out. Because it could be bad or good, because they have the twins, you know, they have the polarity. So it could either be like something really fucked up or dark, or it could be something really light. And sometimes they may not even know what they're gonna say or how it's even gonna be received, because once again, they're not really emotionally connected to that. because of the air sign, you know. Once again, unless they have Cancer, then that's going to be different, you know. But for the most part, they're probably just not emotionally connected to whatever the fuck they're saying. They're just saying things to get things out. And definitely, they also need time to recharge. Especially if you have this conjuncting your sun, you need time alone to recharge and like rejuvenate your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Just like any air sign, like Aquarius and Libras, like all these air signs need time alone, like to just detach. Because air likes to detach. You know what I'm saying? It can't be in one place for too long. Because if it's gonna come back, it needs to kind of be secluded and then, you know, go again wherever the wind or wherever it takes, wherever the wind blows them, whatever, you know. But for the most part, like Venus and Gemini also need some time to recharge, you know. Even if it's like they're still on their phone but they're just not out with people, they will do that. They just need some time alone to like be in their own heads and kind of just analyze what the fuck is going on, especially with Venus and Gemini, because you could find yourself like you were at home and you were thinking these thoughts, right? Then you go to a party, you come back, and then you obviously take thoughts and vibes that were at the party, and now they're like influencing you to think specific things. So now it's kind of like weird because you can get clouded, you know, your judgment and your thoughts, your thought patterns can get really clouded and cloud your judgment, basically, you know what I'm saying? So you need some time to kind of just like separate what was yours, what you want to keep, what you want to throw away, just shit like that, you know. Analyze what you are about to throw away, just analyze it some more and be like, okay, now I'm sure I'm throwing that away, and just like kind of really marinate in your natural or whatever you feel like you want to think about or whatever you want to entertain in terms of like thinking and analyzing and like talking about shit, you know what I'm saying, those vibes. So yeah, that's Venus and Gemini. In my next video, I will talk about Venus and Gemini through the 12 houses, because that's going to change a whole bunch of things. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. And once again, thank you so much for all my new followers. And I'll see you in my next video.